Just a couple of guys, a couple of microphones, and a heck of a lot of know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me here is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, know-it-alls? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the Know Show. I know we took a little bit of a hiatus last week. You know, things were happening, so we had to shut it down last week. But we're back 2 weeks and better than ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got a lot. We got some things to talk about. Some things that are different that nobody out there in the mass media are really kind of concentrating on right now. And there's some little tidbits of news around the NFL that we're going to get to too. But first thing and foremost, cheers, my friend.
Absolutely. Bang.
We are ready to go here.
Yeah, we are ready. We got the energy, and also, Joe, I've got the positive energy too. Here we've got. I found this Bob Ross positive energy drink. So if you guys,
Happy
it's not
trees.
bad. It's a lot of sugar, and it might make you sterile, but it's pretty good. I like it. It's not too bad.
Yeah,
but
just think
trying to
happy
bring the
trees, my
positive
friend.
energy. Yeah, absolutely.
Happy trees.
Big fan of Bob Ross.
That's right. We support Bob Ross.
Yeah, we do.
May he rest in peace.
May he rest in peace. Absolutely, Joe. But yeah, it's been kind of slow again with everything right now. We're gearing up for camps pretty soon. It's 4th of July weekend, kind of
right.
Basically now. You know, happy 4th of July to everybody out there. But it's kind of funny how it carries
right.
over because
right.
it's on a Tuesday this year, so it's kind of messed up. So everybody's in a weird kind of phase. It's like 4th of July weekend, but it's not though because it's not on the weekend. So what do? You take an extended week, or what do you do for when you have the time off?
This thing it does. I don't understand holidays, how they work anymore. Like usually it used to be on that day. That's the day you celebrate it, on that day. Like we even look at like St. Patty's Day. St. Patty's Day is not always on a Saturday or a Sunday. Like it goes into the week. So like right now we're coming up on 4th of July, which happens to be on a Tuesday. Not over the weekend, not Saturday, not Sunday, not Friday night. Like it's Tuesday after the weekend's over with. And I'm sorry, like, I don't think that people are celebrating 4th of July probably on July 2nd. And it's not even the holiday, really. It's Tuesday. So I just don't understand where people are coming from, really. I don't know. I don't get it. I think, like, there's some things that are even like either like postponed or pushed off because of the 4th of July so-called weekend. And it's not happening over the weekend. So why push those things off and claim like it's 4th of July weekend? It's really not.
Yeah.
It happens on Tuesday. So let's celebrate it Tuesday night, you know, and you know, it is what it is. But like to say that we're going to celebrate 4th of July on July 1st and 2nd, rather than just wait till Tuesday. I understand it's easier for people, but hey, Independence Day is on Tuesday. It's not on Saturday or Sunday. So I don't know. It's one of those things that is like a little pet peeve of mine that
I agree.
We kind of, so like, for example, there are some things that I thought were going to happen on Sunday, like events. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, well, the events that were scheduled for Sunday, we're going to push off till next week because of 4th of July weekend. It's not the 4th. What's happening? So, like to me, it doesn't make any sense. Like I get you want to celebrate it over the weekend because it's easier and you can have more events that way and so forth. But like parades and whatnot. But But really, like,
well, I know.
You know,
it's
one of those things. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, the same thing for me too. They were trying to figure out. If we at my job, if they wanted to have an extended weekend, you know, make it a 3-day weekend, and then everybody work on the 4th, or you just have, you know, like I said, you have the 3rd off instead, but you work on the 4th, And I was kind of like, I was in the minority. I was like, I wanted the 4th off because, again, like you said,
That's
it's
the 4th.
revise. It's remember the holiday for the holiday of what it is.
Right.
And it is July 4th. So why would I take the 3rd off, even though it's a 3-day weekend? I'm not one of those guys that needs to group a weekend together. Maybe because because I'm not out getting bent or something like that either, and having a crazy kegger or something. But I don't know. But yeah, I don't get it either. But we're excited to celebrate our nation's independence and things like that too. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. And we just know that we're that step closer to the NFL season.
Right. It's funny because a friend of mine, like we talked about this too, and his perspective was, so I have the weekend off.
Yep.
I have to go to work Monday.
Yeah.
And then we're getting the 4th of July off.
Yeah.
So he goes, why am I going into work on Monday?
It's different than me.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's like, why can't they just give us Monday off and Tuesday off? Because it's only one day.
Yeah.
Take it off.
Potatoes. Yeah.
Take it off.
That's what I did. I ended up taking off. So
make it a 4-day weekend. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Make it. Why take the 3 and just go get the 4th? Why not? Absolutely.
Let's do
so
it.
there you go. 4th of July.
4 for 4.
We're breaking
4
it down
days
for
off
everybody.
till the 4th.
Absolutely. So we're going to throw a question out there for the whole show.
Yeah, definitely.
So you guys let us know what you think out there. So
for sure.
I read an article here about Sean Payton. He was asked, I think, about the John Elway thing. Or he was noted for having a quote saying the John Elway trade was the worst football move in history. And it made me think of, like, I'm not sure exactly too, because I can see where he's coming from. I guess, for the franchise and how it didn't work out for them.
Because it's freaking John Elway.
Yeah, it's John Elway. We know that he's a Hall of Famer for now. So we're going to ask you guys, what is the worst trade or move in NFL history? And what you guys think? Because when you talk about this certain circumstance, it's almost kind of like they had their hand forced against them, because we remember when Eli Manning was saying that he wasn't going to go play for the Chargers.
Right.
And when he got
I remember
drafted
that
by
very
them,
well.
Yeah, and so then the Giants eventually made the trade here. They drafted Phillip Rivers, and they did the swap.
They swapped it.
And now if you look at that situation, then that kind of looks well for the Giants on them, because they in turn end up getting Eli Manning, which led them to 2 Super Bowl victories, and Phillip Rivers ended up not getting any here with the then San Diego Chargers.
Right, and there's always.
But again, guy who did not want to play, so it's not exactly a move that they made because it was their own thought to just say, we don't want this guy.
Yeah, the only thing too about that scenario is that Eli Manning trade for Phillip Rivers. Some people always kind of go back to that argument and say, hey, what would have happened if we didn't swap quarterbacks? What would have happened if the Giants had Phillip Rivers? And would they have won more championships? Would they have won just 2, just like Eli Manning?
Yeah,
because they are different quarterbacks. They're a little bit different from each other. So there's always that what if kind of situation where, like, well, Eli Manning was more of a very, like, astute, smart type of quarterback, pocket quarterback that, made the throws when needed, where Phillip Rivers was kind of almost like a hybrid gunslinger. Like, he could be very aggressive at times when needed, but also was smart with the football for the most part.
Yeah.
And
early on in his career, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's like, with that aggressiveness early on, would Phillip Rivers be able to have the Giants maybe win a third, maybe win one more Super Bowl than Eli Manning? Some people argue that it was possible for him to win 4, with the different Giant teams that were there. So there's always that kind of, it's a fun debate for, like, fans to, like, kind of think back to that situation. Like, hey, but what would have happened if we just never changed quarterbacks? What if we just made it happen? Would it have been the same? Would it have been better? Or wouldn't it have not been as good? I mean, that's always a fun thing to talk about.
All right, we got Mike Tackett in the house here tonight. Jim.
Mikey! What's going on, Mike?
All right, what does he say?
He goes, changes, he said, Chargers. Chargers gave up 2 first-round picks to move up 1 spot to draft Ryan Leaf. And that's going to be his
worst
trade.
Though.
And that's a good one because If you're not familiar with the name Ryan Leaf, and he's right, they moved up one spot to obtain the rights to Ryan Leaf, who happened to be a quarterback who was very sought after at the time. There was a lot of teams that were very interested in him, very big physique, you know what I mean, had a cannon for an arm, and looked the part. But then after that trade, they go ahead and they are able to obtain Ryan Leaf, and Ryan Leaf, not only did he have a terrible rookie season, but his career was atrocious. It was just very bad. He wasn't accurate with the football. He just made some really, really poor decisions and turned the ball over a lot. And in a short span was found out of the NFL in no time. So I could see why that could be like one of the worst trades ever. And he also said honorable mention the Herschel Walker trade.
Herschel Walker traded to Minnesota Vikings, I think it was. Yeah, I mean, that's one of them too. I mean, and you think of ones really that could set your franchise back. You know what I mean? Because you also
sometimes
think of some of them, because, I mean, you can even look at some of these lack thereof moves, during the draft and guys missed on. How many times they talk about Tom Brady went so late in the draft and, like, people didn't see that or whatever, but that just kind of comes out of the blue for people, though.
Everybody points at that whole Tom Brady thing, but let's be honest for what it is. That year, how often did Tom Brady play? He was the backup at Michigan. He was back up behind Chad Henne at the time.
So there wasn't even a lot of game time.
So no,
out there.
There wasn't anything on him except for like maybe 3 or 4 games. His whole career in college now, he only played a handful of games. So, and if you looked at him like physique wise, you're like, the guy's a scarecrow. The guy has no muscle tone. The guy's like just very, he looks like a slinky. He's like a slinky, and we don't even know like how good he could become. Like there was a lot of question marks for him because, let's face it, nobody knew much about him. There wasn't enough game tape on him or anything. So what the Patriots did, and they've done this in the past, where they take long shots. They take a dart and they're like, hey, we're going to throw it at the board, and if it sticks, it sticks, and we'll take a chance later in the rounds on a said player. And that happened to be Tom Brady. They took a chance on him, and he ended up being one of the best quarterbacks ever. So, I mean, sometimes you do strike gold, but not always. Not always it happens like that.
Yeah, another one I think you brought up when we were talking about this off air was the Ricky Williams trade.
Oh, yeah.
What was it when he went to the Saints? Was it?
Yeah, that was the Mike Ditka trading up to get Ricky Williams and everything, and gave up a boatload of picks to move up to get a running back, mind you. Now, back in those days, running backs were premier. They were like, hey, if you get a featured running back and he's really good, that's going to really help your team, which it still does today. It's just in the league now, we kind of undervalue that position because of finances and money and what have you. So, but yeah, like Ricky Williams was one of those like super talented prospects coming out of college, and he lit it up on the football field. Like, I don't think it was. Some people consider it one of the worst trades, mind you, but I don't think it was to the gravity of it could be top 3 or anything. I think, was it a poor trade? Yes, because of how much in draft capital the Saints gave up just to get him. They got one player out of that draft, and maybe like 1 or 2 others in the later rounds, to the point where it was like they almost didn't have a draft. Their whole draft was Ricky Williams. So they came away with like one real good player, and that was that. So some people envision that as like one of the worst trades. Another one that comes to mind, and this is kind of what I thought of as we were about to start the show, is the Jamarcus Russell draft pick. That was a trade. Yeah. The Raiders traded up because they were desperate, and I mean super desperate for a quarterback. Now, that year, there was only one other quarterback that was kind of in line in Brady Quinn that was in line for that maybe 1 or 2 pick. And the Raiders said, we need to trade up. We need to have our choice. So they trade up to the number 1 overall pick. They give up a whole boatload of picks. And not to mention, that was the last year where when you had that number 1 overall pick, you paid buku dollars in their rookie deal. Like we're talking $60 million, and then guarantees and what have you. So not only did they trade draft picks and were desperate to move up to that number 1 spot, everybody, and not say everybody, but maybe the majority is what I'll say, consider the Jamarcus Russell draft pick one of the worst picks in NFL history, if not the worst. And when you put on top of that the Raiders trading up for that spot to take him, that kind of, to me, adds into that extra value of it being the worst trade ever. Because not only did you miss at quarterback, but also he ended up being considered one of the worst draft picks of all time, and you traded up to get him.
Yeah.
So that could quite honestly be what the worst trade of all. And then to talk about Brady Quinn that year, Brady Quinn was kind of considered runner-up. He ends up going to Cleveland, and he amounts to nothing as well. So either way, no matter what quarterback they took, it wasn't going to work out. So, yeah, I would say the trade to get Jamarcus Russell was probably one of the worst in my mind.
Yeah, and then Mike brings up the fact with the Ricky Williams thing. He said LeVar Arrington was the only decent pick that Washington got from that whole Ricky Williams trade when he went to Miami. He goes, I honestly didn't hate Ricky Williams' trade largely in part due to his contract was very incentive-based. And
Right.
He took the league minimum to prove himself. I think the Redskins lost the Williams trade altogether. And what's funny too is after he went to Miami, he had his better years for him and did okay. But then again, having the issues that he did.
I mean,
but that's like nobody knew he was gonna.
He had a lot of mental issues.
yeah.
Like he had some depression and what have you, and he was struggling.
Yeah.
He was one of the first, I would say one of the first NFL players to come out and honestly say, he smoked weed.
Yeah.
And he smoked a lot of it. And he said that he smoked it for his depression and some of his mental issues. He also smoked it because of he didn't trust the medicines in the NFL at that time either. He said that he was way more comfortable smoking weed for pain management and healing, and healing his body throughout the week to week. So, I would say like he was kind of like one of the pioneers in the NFL in terms of pro marijuana use, and then other guys followed after that. But
it's kind of funny the different outlook like on marijuana for them back then to opposed to like now, you know what I mean? And even now the country, even at this point, because again, it was appalling almost that like, oh my goodness, this guy smokes weed and a lot of it, and he wants to choose even weed over the NFL. Like, what's the matter with this guy? You know?
I mean, well, think about it. Back then, that was like a no-no. That's like, no, that's super illegal. You should not be touching that.
In the commercials, you melted into the couch if you smoked weed and everything.
Right.
You were a brain. It was an egg, and then you fried on the frying pan.
This is your brain on drugs.
Well, yeah, I mean, and that's just crazy how he kind of shined really bright for a while, but then after that, and then he decided to return back to the NFL, and really nothing really happened after that. But he kind of left, one of those players that kind of left at his peak, in the NFL.
I mean,
pretty interesting.
His little bit of
where's the 30 for 30? Is
there is one.
There's one.
Yeah,
I was gonna say
about Ricky Williams. In his stint in Miami, though, was at the end of his. He wasn't at his peak at that point in time with Miami because he spent so much time away from football, tried to come back and play for the Miami Dolphins, played for like 2 more years, maybe even 3. But in that time, he was a different type of player. He had a different mindset. It wasn't all about football. It was about his health and his wellness mentally and being a good person. And I mean, he shaved his whole head. He was like bald at that point. You know what I mean? So, for Ricky Williams, personally, he was just a different man. He was a different player. He didn't need the NFL anymore. So it was almost like we saw a lesser version in terms of football performance, but we saw him change as a man and became more responsible and started to really care for people and care for himself. So it's very interesting to see some players have major impacts, whether they're in the league or when they move on from the league. And we see that today. We see some players making a huge impact, whether it be against crime or against, hate and injustice and what have you out there. Ricky Williams is one of those players that was more about self-awareness and keeping yourself healthy and keeping yourself motivated and whatnot. So I think Ricky Williams, was one of those special players, and I don't think he'll ever be forgotten from the NFL.
All right, we've got Paul Matty's in the house with us.
What's going on, Paul?
Says
Greetings from Play Linda Beach, Florida.
Yeah, boom.
Part of the beach is a nude beach.
Oh, wow.
All right.
I don't think you ever mentioned that
What are you doing, bud?
before. Is Linda always nude on the beach there, in Playa Linda? Not sure. But
Paul
yeah.
is playing.
He's
in
there
Play
right now.
Linda.
And so he just expressed to us he's there nude right now, drinking some bourbon. Right?
Probably.
So, yeah.
Most
absolutely.
likely.
So, yeah, we're asking that question throughout the show. So, if you guys think of some, I
Definitely.
looked at a few from Bleacher Report. They have a top 10. Some of them are.
Oh, they do have
some
a
of the
top 10.
mentions ones that we said.
Yep.
Some of them are kind of like, Like, I think
can't see
their 10th
it.
one was like trading up for Michael Vick for the Atlanta Falcons.
No.
Like, he'd shine for a little bit and then, came back after the whole. But
He changed the game.
But he did. He changed the game and he did well. But if it wasn't for his gambling and the kind of person he was on the other side to put him away, I mean, he left again at kind of his peak in the NFL. When he went put to jail. So
Yeah, a little bit in his prime, like towards the end of his prime, I would say, is when all that kind of happened with the dog fighting and whatnot. But Vic, like one of the worst trades. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like they gave up a lot to get him, but I mean, think of what he did for the league. He literally changed the league's perspective on mobile quarterbacks. Like, don't get me wrong, like his legs were his attribute for sure. And he could make some throws, but he couldn't make them all. So that's kind of what limited him. But in the same sense, he made such a change to the game, like that we watch now. Now you're seeing even more mobile quarterbacks being sought after and in prominent roles and prominent teams. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes was never seen as a mobile guy coming out of college, but he's really kind of released that talent that he's kind of kept close to the vest in college as now showing it on the football field now, in today's game. So guys like that are getting more opportunity, and because it's a weapon, it's an added weapon to the arsenal at that position. So if you're able to be mobile and can make all the throws, it's super deadly.
yeah, absolutely. I think who is it? Paul Matty? Is he laughing? He's laughing out there. What do you think? Oh, here he is. Good to see you guys back live on there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
We took a
buddy.
week off. We needed a little R&R and not a whole lot of stuff's going on. We've been real busy ourselves in our personal lives doing crazy stuff, though.
Right.
I got some more tats going on, too, if you guys haven't seen this. Let me change camera views. How about that? Let me zoom in on this stuff so you guys can see. Here we go. Not this part right there. It's tough to see it there, but there you go. It's a work in progress. So keep it going. I'll keep you guys updated on that. But what do you think? They listed one of them here, and then we'll move on. And then everybody, you guys come. I don't want to take a ball on you guys, but one of the ones they listed was Marshall Faulk getting traded from the Colts to the St. Louis Rams at that point.
That's right.
And he became part of that greatest show on turf with Kurt Warner. I mean, how about that? Because then they go right to 2 Super Bowls too, and and he's got a Hall of Fame career.
Yeah.
Marshall Faulk. They did eventually get like Edgerrin James after that, who played well, for them. But again, a key factor in a
Another
Hall of
Fame
Fame
back.
running back. So I mean, I could see that a little bit,
Yeah, a little bit.
but not so bad, right?
No, not at all.
Not so bad. Cool tats, he says. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of some different stories here. We talked about a little bit of that going on, but then also a week or so ago, because we missed going live too. They did. They let us know about the NFL changing their gambling policy now here. So we're going to kind of go over here the 6 key rules now they have to this gambling policy.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if a lot of us really knew about what was entailing in this whole policy anyways. We just knew that suspensions were starting to be given since this sports gambling has been legalized, and some of the offenders we've seen already was, Calvin Ridley and stuff. But then, was it just the beginning of this offseason, we started to see some more names, and namely, the Detroit Lions. So now I'm on St. Brown, right, and a few others starting to get more. And I heard even now after this policy, we're going to get a few after this.
Yeah, I don't think it was Amon-Ra St. Brown. It was like some kind of backup type of player. Yeah. But like, there's like 4 or 5 players to my knowledge that are going to be doled out gambling punishments this coming week, and from what I'm being told, it's going to be pretty serious, pretty like a very stern penalty. Like they're talking like major suspension is what the term was used, or phrase was used. So it the way you think about it, you're like, okay, well, if it's a major suspension, I mean, think about what happened to Deshaun Watson. He went through his thing, his 2-year hiatus, got into trouble, and then you knew it was coming. Like the NFL it's almost like they feel like they have to suspend someone that does anything wrong that's a part of the NFL, and they gave him, a hefty suspension. They gave him like 12 weeks or whatnot. So if we're talking now, we're talking gambling, and some of the players, to my knowledge, have gambled even for their own team that they're playing on. Sometimes they gambled on other games and stuff, and I get it. There's this so-called suspension they're going to have to serve, and I don't know how serious it is. It could be a half a season. It could be 6 games. It could be a whole season. I mean, if they're going to be that serious about it, so it's only up to imagination at this point. But it's nobody like, so far, none of the names that have come out are like any major names. They're not starting caliber players or anything like that. It's usually like backups, third stringers, something like that. So it shouldn't really impact any one team so far, unless there's names that they haven't released yet. But it's going to be interesting to see how the NFL handles this, because, again, we've seen the NFL handle certain situations, and they're like, 2-game suspension. It was a big deal, but it's only 2 games or only 4 games. But then we've also seen suspensions where we're like, they're getting how much? They're getting 6 games. They're getting 8 games for what?
And that, I don't know. I'm like, for me, it's kind of tough to judge on this whole thing, because if you look at back when, Pete Rose in baseball again, he gambled. He wasn't even playing. And he's kicked out of everything. Can't get into the Hall of Fame, anything else. One of the greatest players of all time. You know what I mean? So I don't get it.
They lifted it now. Now he's going to the Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Did they? Oh, yeah. That's great, though. But imagine that, though. But even for this longest time, he's been banned from anything related with baseball. Hall of Fame, and stuff like that. And for the fact that he in NFL now, there's like, yeah, it's around, but don't do this, don't do that. And then, you get a certain amount of, weeks suspended or whatever it might be. But still, I think eventually some of these guys will be able to play, like we see Calvin Ridley being able to.
Of course.
Paul Matty's got a few things here. He goes, is there an over-under on the length of suspension? Nice.
Well, we're going to go with 6.
I like that.
We're going to go with 6.
Oh,
6 games.
Yes. Yeah, who knows? I would 6. Do I take the over or the under? I say over. I'm gonna go with the over on this one, buddy, because I got a feeling that they're just gonna go after him, like you said. NFL, the rules. We're gonna go through some of these rules seem like pretty stupid. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yep, we're gonna do that right now.
Yeah. Like Mike Tackey, he says, don't gamble. Also, NFL, enjoy the DraftKings Super Bowl commercial. You know what I mean? And I talked about this with Joe before, Mike.
Right.
And like he brought it up to a fact that, DraftKings, they're looped together. It's like another sponsor, like as if, Mercedes-Benz was going to sponsor, the NFL and stuff. So I get that part of it too. But if you're joining with something that I guess has been legalized by the states and the government to be able to bet on games, but then you're asking your players to stay away from it. I was even more concerned about the way refereeing has been, because referee calls are always in question as it is. And I'm sure they have a duty to perform or do the best they can to, not change the outcome of some of these games and things like that. But when some of these questionable
They always
calls
screw that up anyway.
happen, that's when I feel like there's got to be some of those questions are like, okay, like even you remember this past Super Bowl is like that at the end with the Chiefs being able to get another try and ultimately winning the Super Bowl. So it's a weird fine line for me on that aspect. But it is funny how they're telling you don't gamble. But then I was like, by the way, but everybody else out there, enjoy it. But players are players. And that's the thing. They leave it open so you can do gambling for anything else, just not the NFL.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing is like this was going to happen regardless if the NFL had partnered with anybody or not. Like as soon as gambling became legal, like everybody's going to want to do it. Everybody's going to try to do it. So it's not like it was never going to happen. Players weren't going to gamble and whatnot. Yeah, the NFL doesn't like it when they do that, especially in the NFL games. But I mean, for me, like, players, yes, they're privy to certain information sometimes, maybe some inside information that media doesn't get a hold of or anybody like coaches and everything. Like in the inner circle of the NFL, they know certain things about certain teams coming up week to week. Okay, whatever. But like for me as a player, if you're a player in the NFL and you want to gamble on, like, so let's just say like the Bengals and Chiefs game that's coming up next week, and you're not in that game, you're not involved in that game, you're on the Falcons, and you want to bet on that game, I don't have a problem with it. Like, yeah, they might have some inside information about, injuries or something like that, but I honestly don't understand unless it's about your game. Like your upcoming game, okay, some things could be done, you know what I mean? Maybe maybe you need some certain yardage from the opposing running back, so you step out of the way a little bit to get them the extra 5 yards you need. Just like something ridiculous like that, I could see. Like, so I'm cool with them putting a cap on it and saying, you know what, you can't bet on any games that you're going to be playing in. You know what I mean, or any opponent that you're going to be playing against. But I think it should be okay to bet on any other game that you're not involved with. That's just my perspective. But again, we can go back to the refs and talk about how, like, yeah, they make some questionable calls. Some decisions are beyond me. Like, it doesn't make any sense, especially when you watch it in instant replay and whatnot. You're like, how did they get that wrong? But games get skewed even before gambling. So games have been called wrong even before this even happened. So it's like, to me, they're never going to, if they couldn't get it right by now, refs are never going to get it right. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the most aggravating thing for fans, is that they're like, all we want as fans is we want the refs to not impact the game by their calls in a negative way. Like if it's a big time call that's granted, that when you watch the replay and all that, and it makes sense, you're like, okay, yeah, they totally screwed up on that play. All right, yeah, that they deserve to get the penalty on that. Okay, fine, but don't go out of your way to become so much part of the game where you kind of dictate the endings to games or a big change in momentum for another team.
All right, we've got a bunch of comments lighting up the board. By the way, thank you so much for comments.
Yes, guys.
Down there below.
Mike Tackett once says, he goes, it all comes down to money.
Yeah.
And you're right. With the NFL, it's always going to be about money, and we know that. Paul Matty goes, I've always thought that some refs have to be bought. I mean, some people might see it
let's
that
pose
way.
that question out there. Who's the most likely referee to be bought out there? I would say like Jeff Tripoli, right? Or something like that. One of those guys that just seems like he gets it wrong like all the time. Let us know in the comments about that. Like, who do you think probably is getting bought off?
Paul goes, I currently owe my illegal bookie
$310, right? Is that what it is? Nice. Boom. Yeah. See,
go,
that's
Paul.
what happens. See, it's a sickness. This sickness is taking over the country.
Mike Tackett goes, if Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers wants to gamble on a game, the Shield would absolutely I can't see the windows in the way.
Oh, whoops, sorry.
Would absolutely turn a blind eye as long as they're not betting against their team. I'm talking to you, Paul Crew.
Paul Crew, bang, yeah.
There you go.
That's what I mean. It's when you see movies already foreshadow this type of deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of funny how it all falls into play.
Yeah, and he's got a point where like you have these so-called NFL, the faces of the NFL. Tom Brady for a long time was the face of the NFL. Now it's Patrick Mahomes, it's Joe Burrow, it's Josh Allen. Like now those are the new faces of the NFL. And it almost seems like those players or even those players on those teams, they sometimes it feels like as a fan, they get special treatment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They get away with some things or they get the call or what have you. So I could see his point there. And then Mike Tackett also says refs need year-round training. They're full-time attorneys and part-time refs. And it's true. We've said this multiple times about the referees. We talked about the referees in general at least like 3 straight years in a row. We had this major conversation about, there are all the other sports, college football, NBA, MLB, they have full-time referees or umpires, whatever you want to call them, right? Officials. They have full-time officials. What does that mean? In the offseason, they're training for the next upcoming season. They're going back and looking at plays and situations and what should have been the call. What is the call? You know what I mean? Is it right or is it wrong? And they go through and they kind of dissect certain plays that were controversial. And isn't that something that the NFL should do? Because we've know that the NFL has played with this idea before, where they're like, oh, temporarily this season we're gonna hire some full-time refs and see if that increases the accuracy in their penalty calls. That was a very limited scope. And then it seems like they just kind of got rid of the idea. They're like, no, we're not going to do that. It's not for us. But the problem is consistency. We've been over this 100 times where refs aren't consistent with their calls. Crew to crew, the same play, and they could have 2-3 different ideas of what the call should be. Whereas that's where when Mike Tackett says year-round training, the NFL refs need it, just like any other major sport. Mm-hmm. It's to help become more consistent across the board as officials. And then that way, when we get into those certain situations like pass interference and all these kind of critical calls that happen during games, whether it be the end or the middle or whatever, now every crew is going to see it the same way, or it's going to be so close that you don't notice a difference. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like they're going to be able to make more consistent calls across the board and hopefully the right ones.
Yeah, either universally they're all going to be freaking terrible, or there's going to be.
Well, you can't get any worse than what it is now,
right? Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when it happens into like a big game like this past Super Bowl, to where again a lot of people like can point the fingers about being favorites and going with the hot commodity right now in Patrick Mahomes. Right. I mean, when you have a team like that in the Kansas City Chiefs, who seem like the team, that everybody's onto right now, when you got Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and things like that, it made it kind of easy for people to accept the fact, like, whoa, with the way the outcome came out for them, that, hey, man, this seems like you guys really wanted this to happen. And especially when Kansas City was going to be holding the draft right after, too. It just all seemed like it all fit hand in hand. And when you have this type of sports betting and things like that, too, there's always going to be questions, I think, that are arise after all this. But it's funny how we talked about gambling and it all turned into refs and things like that and how bad they need to be trained and stuff.
But you see, the funny thing is it's always about the refs.
It is.
In the end.
It is goddamn
they
refs.
always just screw the games up. Now, mind you, there is the NFL has like a grading system for each crew, right? And they follow it week to week, and they see who the most accurate crews are versus the ones that miss some penalties and get the calls wrong and whatnot. So the interesting thing is, I think it should be almost like at the end of every year, if you're a crew that had such a bad score, it's time for new blood. Mm-hmm. You fall off you're the weakest link. Goodbye. And now let's hire some new and upcoming, referees and give them a shot.
Yeah, so it's kind of like if, the refs, they all average, what they do. And like you said, they take the best crew. So So the highest one probably averages a D minus. So now they're school valedictorian then, right? So that's what it is. If they're all going on a grading system, so they get a D minus. So they're school valedictorian. So they get to be there at the NFL Super Bowl, right?
Right,
so
exactly.
Doesn't that seem like that doesn't make sense? You know what I mean?
I know.
And so, okay. Paul Matty says, what do NFL refs get paid? I don't know what that is.
Here's the funny thing.
More than what I make for part time, right?
Jimmy, it's way more.
Way more than I got to do
it's
it.
Way
Why
more
don't
than
we
you
train to be refs,
Okay.
Joe?
So the NFL does not release salary figures for referees, but
see,
according to Sporting News, the highest paid NFL refs make $250,000 annually. And NFL referees on average usually make about $205,000 per year. So let's just say, what my thing is, why are we hiring referees that have full-time jobs as teachers or whatever, and then part-time they're making over $200,000 a year just refereeing on Sundays, just refereeing during training camps? Like, these guys are traveling and making buku dollars to ruin games. Yeah. It's insane to me.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, there you go. I mean, over $200,000 on average is
crazy.
what they make per year.
Yep.
So if you have any chance, and it is a very slim, to get to that level, because like there's not many jobs for that. And you are one of the luckiest officials to go up to the NFL. Take the job, and you're going to be set. You're going to make $200,000+ a year. That is insane to me.
Yeah, I think there should be more women referees because if they
there
want
is
to
now.
make decent money and still get high level pay along with the way the men are there. And look at it this way: do you think any player on the sidelines can really argue with a woman?
Yes,
at the end of time?
it's
I
already
don't know.
happened.
Really, I don't know. I think
Actually,
they just basically just
you know
walk
what's
away.
funny? You know what's funny? No, you know what's funny? Because you've seen it in games
Really?
where it almost seems like the female official at times, they'll make a call, and I've seen this. The head ref will come over, who happens to be a male,
Oh, really?
and overrules the call because
I'll have to look into this
because
I don't
they
know about
haven't because and here's the thing, and a lot of times it's rightfully so. They made a wrong call, and they come over and get corrected, and like, no, it's not this because of this, because the player was here, and whatever the explanation is. But I've seen that happen. I've also seen a player yell at the female official, and she didn't argue or anything. She kind of said what she had to say. Then she talked to the other officials, and then they moved on. But it's until
I saw him do this. He's like, "No, you didn't." She's like, "But I swear I saw this." Like, you're just a woman. Be quiet.
but
Okay.
like the thing of it all is and you know what? It doesn't matter whether they're male or female.
Right? Yeah.
A lot of these calls are just bad.
Oh yeah, we've seen
And
it.
we've seen some
end zones before where somebody
horrendous
calls
ones.
it a touchdown and then the other one doesn't, and you're like, "Dude, you're way over there. How are you not seeing this?"
But that's the thing. Isn't that the craziest thing? It's like, I don't think that if you're an official that is, you're on the baseline, right? And it's in the red zone. You're on the baseline. You're the back of the end zone, and you make a call that is literally 15 yards away from you when there's a sideline judge that's literally right in front of the play.
Yep.
And then and the guy on the baseline or girl makes the call. How? You should not have any say. You're not right there. The sideline judge is. Like, so
Paul
that
Manny
that
says
bothers me too.
refs, female refs will bring up a penalty from 4 years ago. All right.
Classic
Yeah,
Paul.
I know. We're all
Classic
joking,
Paul.
everybody, by the way, if they're, our female viewers. We were joking.
We
We're
just
always
lost
fooling around.
400.
We just did. Yeah, half of them.
400
Yep.
members left.
And they won't forget about it for the next 4 years.
That's right. They're going to let us have it 4 years from now.
Paul Manny says, I wonder if NFL teams can scratch a ref for a future game like I could as a high school coach if I didn't like a ref's past performance.
That'd be
That
sick,
would be
right?
neat. I'm sure they have conversations like that.
I'm
know?
sure that nothing of that happens,
Really?
just so you know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because the crews are the crews.
Yeah.
They don't swap in refs here and there just because
I know that they've
a discrepancy's
openly,
made.
at least, coaches or something have openly discussed how certain refs operate in that they don't like the certain refs.
But guess what? You'll probably have that same ref next week.
And then you'll get fined by Roger Goodell.
That's right. See,
All right,
you can't say nothing.
So let's get to actually the 6 now major rules that they have here, which are kind of funny because, again, they seem like pretty basic. Like, yeah, duh, you should probably do that. But some of them, I think are interesting too. All right, here we go. Let's look at them here. Let's look at all 6. Don't bet on the NFL. We've already pretty much covered that, but that's kind of funny. So they're basically telling you no games in the NFL. Like Joe said, just not on ours. How about just not on ours? But they just don't want any.
Whatever.
Just in case, I guess. Just
bogus.
in case. I don't gamble at the team facility while traveling for a road game or staying at a team hotel.
Come on.
Okay. So we already got don't bet on the NFL out the window. So you can't do anything NFL.
So stupid.
But if you're going to be traveling, and again, at another team facility in a different city,
no,
I can't gamble on basketball or baseball then.
Absolutely
even
not.
if I'm like in the hotel, like chilling in the hotel, I'm like, oh shit, that's right. I can't gamble on this game right now.
You're on the clock.
I'm like,
you are
you
not
kidding
allowed.
me? Like, bro, like this kind of really interferes with some of them. If it is legal now, really interferes with their personal kind of life and what they want to do, especially going to some of these states that do legalize it, New Jersey, New York, things like that. Most of them do, I think, now, right?
Most of them, not everybody.
Not everybody, but I mean, yeah. And then how do you police that? You know what I mean? It's like, because guys are going to share rooms together and stuff like that too and stuff. It's not like they're like, dude, I saw this guy over there. He was on, DraftKings and totally.
They got hidden cameras in the suites.
Yep.
They're like, oh wait, zoom in on that phone. Yep, he's on DraftKings. Yes. Get him. Go.
Well, that's what I mean. They're like, oh, he's on DraftKings. That's okay, but don't do the other one.
FanDuel.
FanDuel. No FanDuel. That's no. We don't know. That's a no. But not even
Crazy.
on hockey or anything like that when you're there. So you're really jumping in on some of these and don't have someone bet for you. So this is funny too because it's almost like, hey man, it's like when you catch those kids when they're younger that they're not 21 yet and they catch you and you're like, hey dude. Hey, you think you can run in and get this for me quick? Or, to buy me a 40 or something? I'm like, no, I'm good, But it's like, that's what it seems like these players are going to do. Hey, man, can you just run this bet for me?
Right. Paul Matty, he has something to say here. He goes, has there been a trans ref?
Not yet.
Not yet.
That we know of.
No, it's not happened yet. It hasn't happened yet.
I wouldn't be surprised if we do, though.
I wouldn't be surprised if the NFL does, and then the NFL gets canceled.
Mm-hmm. We've seen what Weird Al Yankovic could be the next.
We've seen what happened to Bud Light, right?
Mm-hmm.
They went immediately down the tubes when they put a transgender on a can.
Yeah, I don't know though. I don't put it past them to do something like that. But whatever.
I will not watch the NFL.
Whatever is people's lifestyle, it is. Whatever, let it be. Whatever they are. Okay, that's fine. All right. He goes. And here we go. Rule number 4: don't share team inside information.
Well, duh. I'm pretty sure nobody does that.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, you would think that, hey, Aaron, how are you and the Jets doing? Oh, we're doing great, man. We got the chemistry down and everything. Hey, listen, by the way, we have this one play where it's our go-to play in the red zone, and it releases, the X receiver over out in the flat, and then it leaves him all by himself, and we just kind of dump it to him. It's like an easy walking touchdown every time. Yep. Oh, thanks, buddy. Yeah, you know what? We kind of have some kind of a defense going here. It's like a little bit of a hybrid defense, like man zone, but we do this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
No one shares information on what they're doing.
No.
Like, I understand they're putting the rule in there just to put it in there.
Yeah.
But nobody is going to give information up that might hurt them, down the road in the season or
people don't
in
during
playoff
the
time.
season because even look at the injury list. Injury list is a key thing of like kind of doing smoke signals at people and stuff. Like the Patriots were big for that. They had everybody on the injury list. Questionable.
Everybody's
not
questionable.
sure who's going in or not. So they're not going to be like, and somebody's going to be like, hey man, they're trying to make a buck or whatever. Like, hey, do this. And by the way, bet for me too, will you? It's like, I don't get that one again. And then again, let's look at don't enter a sports book during the NFL playing season. So here you go.
Ooh.
So you can't do it in the hotel room on your phone on an app and bet on any other sport but the NFL. Right? So you can't do any sports then.
You can't do any sports traveling.
So yeah. So then when you go actually walk into a sports book during the season, you can't bet on any other sport either.
Can't do anything.
So you're left to, the summertime because that technically it's right when the NFL season starts in September. So you got the whole summertime, I guess, and winter, which is fine. But I just think it's kind of funny that they're just like, just to be safe, even though you said do not bet on the NFL, that all of a sudden we can't bet on other sports.
True.
Why? Like during the season, why?
It doesn't matter.
Because is it like you said that? Am I supposed to be working like all the time, even when I'm in the hotel? Where I'm resting right now, I don't get it. I just feel like there's going to be more punishments because of this, and maybe again you're going to see different degrees on what these punishments are, depending on what this stuff is.
I mean, you're already going to hear about the so-called serious punishment that's about to be revealed, and let's see where it goes from there. Because these guys are not big names as far as from what I've been able to uncover. They're kind of like backup players, and they just betting and all that, and they got caught. I don't know how they got caught, because here's the other thing too, is unless someone's ratting you out, how are they finding out on your cell phones when you're betting, who you're betting? Do you know what I mean? Like
hookers.
My thing is, it doesn't make any sense at all. Like how did you discover these athletes bet? Were they doing it in the locker rooms? Because locker rooms have cameras. Like you know that. So hopefully you're not that stupid and you're doing it in team facilities, or, you know what I mean, in the parking lot of your team facility. Do it at home. Like, you know what I mean? I just don't get it. So to me, for some of these players to get caught, it's probably during the dumbest times ever. And that's how they got caught. Like it to me, it doesn't make any sense. If you're doing this privately, think about it. Your job says you're not allowed to gamble at all. Your job, like your everyday job, you're not allowed to gamble at all. Okay, fine, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You go to work, you do your job, you go home, and you're home now. You have no supervisor looking over your shoulder. You're home. I'm going on there right now. I'm going to bet this team, that team. This I got a parlay going here, 5-leg parlay. Boom, send it in. Done. There's no way they can find out if you're home, if you're privately, like nobody is around you.
They probably have, again, they're pinging your cell phone and seeing where your location is or something like that.
They have
Cancel
to be able
push notifications and all that stuff, guys, and where you can see where your location is. Be smarter.
Yeah, but still,
be smarter about it.
That's just location. Like that's what I mean. Like they can't. There's no way they can find out unless you do something stupid, which I think a lot of these players were careless.
Yeah.
And maybe a coach or a staff member walked by and maybe saw them right on DraftKings or FanDuel or whatever.
Who knows? Paul Matty says, wasn't there a USFL team named the Gamblers, the Houston Gamblers? Yeah, I think there was.
I think there was,
You know what I mean? And so it's just kind of funny, but it can be, a team.
But none of them got caught.
That's fine. No.
None of them got caught. So they're good.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different things. And then finally, the last rule here is don't play daily fantasy football. So basically, again, but what Mike Tackett's saying
just don't do anything.
Is hey, here, by the way, watch this commercial about DraftKings and FanDuel and stuff like that. But players can't use it.
Here's the funny thing about that. Like, don't play daily.
So you're talking about even on your phone. I'm sorry, just real quick about you're not being able to bet while you're in a hotel and whatever. So then you're just saying you can't use that app at all. Daily fantasy football, that's usually what it is. So you can only do regular fantasy football with your bros in those types of leagues, I guess.
But daily fantasy football has nothing to do with gameplay on the NFL at all, ever. Like, you're picking
during the season. Right?
You're picking random players. You're picking random players and hoping they do something.
Yeah.
Like, that has no input on any games. That's absolutely ridiculous.
And if the way it says don't play daily fantasy, so is that daily fantasy baseball too? I mean, that's what I mean. Because they do that.
They didn't say football, right?
No,
they just said daily fantasy. Well, there you go.
So,
it covers everything.
So basically, you're telling you not to gamble at all.
It's stupid.
Basically, unless you do
they're going to do it anyway.
Like a Saratoga Raceway and stuff, and gamble on horses and things like that.
Yeah, they're going to do it anyway. This is going to be an ongoing thing. Like, some guys are going to get caught. Some guys are not going to get caught. But I don't think they're ever going to stop.
They gamble on at Saratoga is owned by a former player and
cares?
then they has inside information, obviously, about the training of the horse and
Who
things.
cares?
And he bets, and he could win on that.
Who cares?
Do they get suspended for that?
Who cares? It's a horse race. Who cares?
Oh, boy.
Do you know how many people give inside information that have close friends to a certain sport?
Yeah.
Like any sport. Like just think about this. Like horse racing, like you just mentioned. Someone might have some inside information about a certain horse and be like, hey, pick this horse right now. I'm telling you right now, he's a blazer. He's a sleeper. He's a dark horse. He's going to come out and he's going to win you a ton of money, in this next race. Mm-hmm. Because he's a sleeper. I've trained him myself. I know what he's capable of, and I think he's going to be faster than anybody out there. Okay, cool. And then you end up winning money. Awesome. That type of information, people give those little tidbits out often. It's not you know what I mean? Even though you might have some inside information as far as like, say, the NFL about this team, they have this many injuries and they have a quarterback coming in who's never started and all this other thing. It's like, that's going to help you bet that game. Okay, fine. But like that happens with everybody. There's always inside information being shared one way or another. It doesn't go very far because there's not that many people involved, but that type of thing always happens. So I think the whole gambling issue and like to tell players that you can't gamble at all, basically. Mm-hmm. During the season, you're not allowed to gamble when you travel. You're not allowed to gamble on football games. You're not allowed to do daily fantasy. You're not allowed to gamble on any other sport during the season. Like, why not? What's the problem if I'm playing football during my season, but I'm betting on hockey or I'm betting on basketball or I'm betting on a different sport altogether? Like, why is that a big deal? That to me doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't get it. Paul Matty says their Goombas leaked the betting info on the players. And then he says, always bet on the horse that shit last. He's relaxed. That's good. That's good information right there. I mean, I like that one.
Inside information right there.
Yeah. So, but Paul Matty also asked earlier, are you going to be watching the USFL championship game or betting on it?
No,
I'm
not.
I don't bet really on a lot of stuff. I used to when I was younger on horses.
I'll tell you right now.
But everything else, and I used to play fantasy football, but I don't do anything.
I gamble once in a while.
Yep.
And I never do like anything like $100 or anything like that. I don't put any kind of substantial money down. But I like to do long shots. I'll bet $1. And if I win my 8-leg parlay, I'm going to get 300. You know what I mean? Like something like that. It's a long shot, but it's just kind of fun to do. You pay a little bit of money and then you do it
risk,
like
high reward type of deal.
I even do like UFC. I'll bet on UFC fights. I'll just pick straight up winner.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I'll have like a long leg parlay, like a 6 fight parlay or something. And I'm including prelims too. And hey, if I hit, there was one time where I came so close, I missed one fight. And it happened to be second to last on my ticket. Mm-hmm. And I ended up losing that fight. So it ended up just screwing me all over, but it would have paid out $2,000.
Boom. Oh, man.
But so it's for fun for the most part for me. Like I just do it once in a while. I don't do it crazy like often or anything.
Mm-hmm. Paul Matty says prop bets for the NFL or Super Bowl are really fun.
I never done that. I've never done that. So
neither. I'm just like
because I can only betting person. I mean, think about the amount of money generated that weekend.
Yeah,
that's insane. Super Bowl is probably the biggest sporting event all year. Mm-hmm. But I mean, obviously you got World Series and stuff. But I still think Super Bowl Sunday is so big.
Yeah,
like think about the millions and maybe even billions of dollars that are spent just doing commercials that day. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, you got all these sponsors buying in to show our commercial and this, that, and the thing, airtime and what have you. But then you look at the betting. Mm-hmm. Imagine the money exchange on Super Bowl Sunday for the most random things. Mm-hmm. Like who's going to, fall down during the Super Bowl halftime show. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many random like things you can bet on during Super Bowl Sunday. And you can win huge money because there's so much money being exchanged all over the place. Like that's got to be insane. I'm curious to see what like that total would be. Like the amount of money bet on that day only. Like, it's got to be substantial. It's got to be huge. Look
it's
at
crazy.
Look at what is his name? Mattress Mac. Every single year,
every
single year, this guy Mattress Mac, he bets like millions of dollars on the team that's going to win, or a boxing match, like all these like major events, and he'll put millions of dollars down, like $2 million on the Chiefs to win it, or $2 million down on this guy to win the fight.
Yep.
And it's insane. This guy either wins big or he just loses big. So, I mean, it's just crazy.
But for him, has he won so much that it doesn't matter when he loses kind of too? He's just like, whatever.
Okay, when you have a name like Mattress Mac,
well, that's
all I know is that you sold.
That was my name back in the day.
You've sold. He's made so much money.
Yeah,
it's like hand over fist.
Yeah,
like this is a guy that's had like, I can only imagine how many mattress stores all over the nation. Like, and so he's just making.
So he sells
raking in
mattresses.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
They call him Mattress Mac.
I wasn't sure if he was so stingy with his money, or he hides it under the mattress, or what the deal with the name was.
No, Mattress Mac. It's because he sells mattresses.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, I just know Bob's Furniture, Big Bob's Big Store.
Well, you got to get out of the local scene here.
I don't.
You got to go national.
Yeah, I don't follow. I stay in a little shell in a hole. I don't go outside my comfort zone.
So we got going on here. We got the
Mike
chat going
Tackett's
up.
right there.
He goes, Mike Tackett, he said, playing the Madden 24 closed beta right now. Another year of trash, he reports.
Yeah.
On a completely unrelated note, Maximum Football is really starting to look good. Oh, so that's promising. So anybody that's tuning in, if you must know,
fat ass back here.
Our very own OG know-it-all, Mike Tackett, has been one of the very few selected in testing some of these games, like Maximum Football, that's going to be coming out soon, which is it's one of those games where it takes you back to where there's so many customizations in terms of your team and whatnot, and there's no likeness or like team name, you know what I mean? Like it's all kind of generic in a sense, but it sounds like from since he's been testing this, is that they keep making improvements to the point where it's starting to look like not only a good game, but it's coming into its own to be like probably one of the better games out there for football.
Well, it's good because Madden ends up just messing it up so badly, it makes the other ones look that much better too, as well. And things that they don't fix.
You heard it right from Mike Tackett's mouth here. Playing Madden 24 closed beta right now, and he said it's absolute garbage. So Madden 24.
I don't even play it anymore. I've tried to play the newer ones with my son. I can't do it.
So Madden 24, if he's saying that there hasn't been any improvements, because that's what it sounds like, and if that's the case. Think about all the fans out there for football that always buy the game Madden every single year, and they're hoping that this is going to be the year where they make the right changes and improve the game. Well, according to Mike Tackett, that's not happening. So get ready for Maximum Football, because that seems to be like the game almost about ready to come out. Where I think that's going to be better than Madden when it gets finalized and finished. It sounds like it's trending that way, where it's going to be better than Madden. People are going to fall in love with Maximum Football, and then just wait for college football to come out, and then
boom.
Those are the only two football games you're going to need.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we'll see, with that stuff. But Madden again, I think has pushed themselves into a corner to where it's open for these other franchises to step up and take the reins from this.
Okay,
it's been so bad.
Here's another note on Mattress Mac. Mike Tackett says he has a future sports book in his back pocket.
So there you go.
There you go, making buku dollars.
I'll have to Google search this Mattress Mac.
And this character. Paul Matty also says coaching football is like playing fantasy football with real humans.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. And to me, that's what makes that statement, or that rule, I should say, absolutely ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't do anything to the game that you're going to be about to play. Like, even if you're playing against someone that you have on your fantasy team, you're not going to let them run for a touchdown just because you have them on your fantasy team.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not going to happen. You're going to get cut.
I know. Then you got some real serious issues.
You know what I'm saying?
You're getting paid millions in the NFL.
That's not going to happen.
Decided if I win this one bet, though, I'm just going to let this guy walk by me quick.
That's why I think the NFL is so far off the deep end on this. That's the most ridiculous thing. What was it? Oh, we got Mike Tackett also said Madden is now $70.
Holy crap!
Maximum Football, everybody. If you're watching this show, Maximum Football will be absolutely free.
I would give it a try.
So
I'm gonna give it a try.
You're kidding me? It's
Yeah,
free. You're
yeah.
definitely gonna download it and play it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And you know something? This is interesting too because we've seen some of those games that come out and they're free to download and you play them and sometimes they became huge hits. You know, you look at Fortnite, right? That was a free download.
Yep.
And then it became this big huge thing.
Yeah.
Maximum Football is going to probably be the next best sports game that's absolutely free and is going to, take the world by storm.
And Knockout City featuring our very own Stephen Murray here as the DJ on the moon.
That's right.
Boom.
If you like dodgeball, that's the one to get.
Knockout City on all platforms. Check it out. All right, yeah. And
Mike
that
Tackett,
game blew
have
up
you
too.
have you
was a
played
good
that game? That's a pretty
that
fun
game's
game.
fun. That's one of those games where I get like when you get knocked out and whatever, and you respawn. I don't feel as bad. I feel like when I play the multiplayer games, when I actually get killed and the dude bucks me down with a shotgun, I feel like he really just killed me. Like a little more of me dies every time.
That's right. You're like,
I get sad or I get really mad.
Yeah.
So
Paul Matty also he comments down below. He says, "Is the Madden game cover still a curse?"
I don't think so. I think that's gone away. You know what I mean? Because now it seems like because a few have broken it. I think for in a sense that it's kind of faded a little bit. So it's.
I don't think
spotty.
so.
I think there's a chink in the armor.
I don't think it
You
is.
think the curse is still alive?
It's definitely still alive because everybody that's been on that cover, everybody, and I'm talking Mahomes, I'm talking Tom Brady.
Mahomes
Had
just won a
bad-
Super Bowl and he was just on the cover, wasn't he? Like not too long ago, right?
Yeah, but his. Well, no,
The
that
year
was like
he
2 or
did
3 years ago.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't played the game. So who was on
So-
it last time besides John Madden?
Oh man, who
The one
was it?
before that, was it Calvin Johnson was on the cover or something? Or they had multiple people on the covers again?
Well, Lamar Jackson was
was-
not too long ago.
He
Like
was
I think-
2021, but then they had the two goats on 2022. Who was 23? Somebody get that answer.
we just
for me.
looked at it.
Was it 23? Was
We had
was
it on there.
Calvin Johnson or something? I want to say it was somebody like that.
Not 23.
No, 23. 23 was Madden. Madden himself.
Yeah, it was Madden.
So that's what they did.
It
So they
ended him.
Well, that's what they ended. They wanted to keep it away. They're like, there is no curse. So to prove you,
We're gonna reset
gonna
it.
Put a coach on there who possibly cannot have a terrible year. In fact, because he's dead. It's like
this is
What?
the reset button.
Yeah.
Is that what this is?
It's
Like
gotta
the
be.
reset button? I think it's still live though.
So they want to restart it here with Josh Allen and
Yeah.
ruin Buffalo Bills fans' hopes here because again,
Hey.
you're hearing the stories out right now too.
All I'm
At least
saying.
around here in New York, when we get around here is especially with the question marks that's going on with the franchise and Stephon Diggs. Like it's like a make or break season for like kind of the Buffalo Bills because they've been trending upwards and they just cannot beat like the Bengals and the Chiefs. So. With this window that they have, are they going to be able to do that and make it to the Super Bowl with this team?
Mike Tackett goes Madden 25 cover, biracial, trans ref. Hashtag so brave.
I like it.
And then Paul Matty goes,
Spadass.
I heard Trevor Lawrence is going to be on the next Madden cover.
already. I thought they do a vote, but maybe he was in the vote for it, and Josh Allen won. So then it's going to be Trevor Lawrence. Huh. Who knows?
Yeah, they usually do it after the year.
Yeah.
I think it would be funny to see like how this is going to happen going forward because I really do. I don't think the curse is necessarily like you're going to get injured.
Right, not anymore.
It's well, even before that, like it was either you got injured or you had a bad year.
It's a bad year. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's usually what happens, either performance based or an injury. So let's see what happens to Josh Allen this upcoming season. And that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like they had like Madden 22. They had Brady and Mahomes.
Yeah.
Both on the cover.
Yep. That's funny because we did just do a thing on this, but
Right.
I got it right. They had Madden on the cover, but they had multiple covers, I think, with other former players on it though too. Because Madden's been doing that lately too. You notice that? They have like the Ultimate Edition or the Elite Edition or
Yeah,
whatever.
but those are different
And then they
levels.
do different Madden covers, but it's not the original cover. And so I think they think they know that might be some kind of curse. They're trying to mask it all so you guys don't look at that and put former players on so it doesn't matter anymore. But again, we'll still think the worst game probably or one of the worst and the dumbest covers, Madden 25, right? Isn't that dumb? It was a dumb name. It was a dumb cover, and the game sucked.
So in 21, you had Lamar Jackson. 21, 22, you had Mahomes and Tom Brady. And then John Madden, obviously, this year.
And 21, before that, was Mahomes again, right? Or 2020.
Mahomes,
Mahomes again.
And then 2019, Antonio Brown.
He's still cursed. So there, you're right. That is the proof, Joe.
It's still happening.
That is the proof. Antonio Brown's still cursed. He can't pull it off of him. Can't pull it off himself.
He's the only player.
How do you open that up? Because now I'm wondering if these guys are going to talk about Antonio Brown. I know Mike Tackett, because he loves to bring that up with the Albany Empire no longer being around now anymore and getting kicked out of the league, and then the fact that the players and coaches are going to sue now for the pay issue.
Paul Matty is in rare form tonight, ladies and gentlemen. He goes, what happens if a player is put on the Bud Light can?
Ooh.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do they become transgender?
Imagine, what? Is that what he's meaning? I don't think so. Right?
Well, that's probably it.
Well, what if he they put him on a Bud Light can? That would probably help their sales if they did a Mahomes can or this.
No, he's transgender, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think so.
Mahomes.
Now we're getting into speculation, but
pretty sure.
Albany Empire. There's Mike Tackett. It's sad how quick that happened, right, Joe? We kind of kicked around about it, but wasn't the demise of the Albany Empire like one of the quickest things we ever seen?
Mm-hmm.
It was just nuts.
It happened over a few weeks,
and it's almost like the way that, an empire, the Roman Empire, in the way it is, and the way their title is, how it just burned just like that,
just
crashed
fell.
and burned instantly. Just like
fell.
Pompeii, just like bang,
Done.
gone, bye. And it's just crazy though for a guy, because you think of a guy that's a superstar, but in the NFL, and he wasn't even touted. I think going into the NFL as like a star receiver, like he wasn't a lot of people looking out for him, but he ended up becoming a great wide receiver in the NFL, making money. And the fact that he didn't want to pay the league, was messing with the players with their money and the coaches early on in the season. And the fact that the last game check that the guys got, they got their direct deposit, and then all of a sudden the next day they look, boom, it's taken back. And they got the money taken back out of their accounts. I mean, that's a real type of dirtbag. You know what I mean? It's more than just even being crazy or nuts, but you're just a flat out dirtbag.
Yeah, this just in, Paul said AB is a clown.
That's
not putting it very nicely.
News.
That's very nice. It's a very nice way to say it. But yeah, I mean,
you are fake news.
he literally single-handedly came to Albany.
Yeah.
And here's the funny thing too is we mentioned like Touchdown Eddie Brown is his father, right? Like he was a legend for the Firebirds.
Yeah.
And he was part of it when he first took over. He actually made his father like the VP, I think, or something like that.
It was like just under
of operations or something like that.
Yeah.
And in a week's time, what was funny is that his father left. He said, "I'm not going to be a part of this." So his own father saw the writing on the wall. It said, "I don't want to be. No, if you're going to act like this, if you're going to do all these different things, then I'm out." So I mean, say what you want. There's still people out there that are defending Antonio Brown, saying
you're
it's not
ugly,
his fault.
you're disgusting. I'm going to kill you. Give me $200.
I'm not sure that's what he
it
said,
just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like how can you? Why? My thing is like, even if you have money, even you have star power and you have money and you come in and you buy the franchise, okay, fine. But when you come right into you're coming into this organization that's already been established, has a staff, has certain leaders in spots and staff members and coaches, and then you kind of come in and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you make all these outlandish decisions. I want to fire this guy. I want to get rid of this coach. I want to get rid of these staff members. I don't want them here anymore. And you're left there, and everyone's saying, "Hey, why did you do this? Why did you do that?" Oh, I didn't make those decisions. That's what AB does. AB's like deflecting everything. It says, I didn't do that. I don't know. That's not me. You're the one that came in. You're the difference. You came in with a lot of money. You bought the team, and all of a sudden, all these changes happened. The team was running very smoothly. Everybody was getting paid. Everybody's performing well. They had a really good football team. Mind you, a 2-time champion. And most likely, if everything was going to run smooth this year, they had a legitimate shot of winning 3 championships in a row. So I don't know why you would disturb that. But what's the common denominator? AB showed up.
Yep. Yeah.
Stick up for him if you want, but I can't. I don't know how you can.
Yeah, it's just nuts, but it's kind of funny though too. If you look at the Arena League, I'm just looking at the stats quick here and the standings. The San Antonio Gunslingers, were they even a team last year? I don't remember.
No, they're new. They're new this year.
But isn't it funny how like the new teams end up being good like right away? Like
at the end of last season, they announced them at halftime and said these are the new owners. Yeah.
Yep. That's what I thought. It was kind of funny, and a lot of the former owners and other players went to the Orlando Predators down there where Mike Tackett is, and they're only 3-5 this season. So that's
Mike Quarta. Who got let go, whatever you want to call it.
He left.
Yeah, he left.
He sold the team. You know what? He sold the team for $1. You know that?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And he went and he purchased. He's a part owner of the Orlando Predators now.
Yep.
And that's awfully funny how Brandon Cisse followed. Two-time MVP of the league, Darius Prince followed. So it's like all these really good players that they had, they all just left. Because why would you want to hang around and deal with AB as your leader, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mike Tackett said, thanks a lot, Vontaze Burfict.
Oh, that's just wrong. Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, it caught you off guard. Huh?
It did. It just, oh, man, that's just,
well,
who knows? Maybe it was, I think it was before that, though. We did notice maybe something a little different off with that guy before that situation, but maybe that was it. That was the one that put the nail in the coffin on that one. But yeah, the Albany Empire, rest in peace. But it's just crazy to me how three championships, 2 in the NAL, and then Antonio Brown joins, and now they're no longer a team, just dismantled.
That's it. They're done.
It's sad. But
it's terrible because, and here's the thing, is the city of Albany, everybody's always wanted like a football team
they were
here.
Supporting them, I thought.
And they were being supported, not as much as I would like them to be, but I don't think in that league, anywhere, any team that you go watch, if to me it feels like, even when I watched them on YouTube, like playing away,
yeah, you
started to see the crowds were kind of almost the same. They're all like average sized crowds. Nobody was packing the house, so to speak.
So it's even the league in general.
Right. So I don't know. Maybe people look at it and be like, it's not the top of Arena League play. So why would we want to go? Well, at least it was football in the area. That's all I know. And it was exciting. So it's very unfortunate. Now, from little bit of news that I've heard in Albany is that to hold up and wait, because there will be a new team back in Albany. It might take a year, but there will be a new team in Albany, just so you know.
I heard, they're looking to start off the AFL again. I think the Arena League, I think, is trying to come back or something like that too, or something. But
no, for
who knows? For the NAL,
really? NAL.
Oh, interesting.
And the reason why is I heard somebody talk about it, and I can't remember who I was talking to. Somebody with knowledge of the situation, and they said just hold up, just wait. Albany will have another team. Might be next season.
It's all fake news. It's phony stuff.
They will definitely have another team, and it might even be one of the returning owners.
Oh,
so
spicy.
Just saying.
So we gotta get in on it. We gotta get in part ownership. You know what I mean?
I don't know how much it costs.
We'll give him his $1 back. Like, hey, you sold the Empire for $1 or
right.
something.
Can we buy into it for $1?
$1? Oh, we'll give you $1 a piece. That's double back, right?
That's like you're $2. Getting profit.
So that might work. Paul Maggie says most arena team owners just want to play Al Davis. Yeah.
Why can't I, Paul?
A lot of them do too. Yeah, and if they're local business owners, why not get one?
Just so you know, I would make a difference. That's all I'm saying is I'm gonna scout. I'm gonna go and get the best players available.
Paul Matty would know because I think didn't John Turner talk about this, about all of us grouping together with one of the Facebook groups about trying to buy a team?
I think so.
I don't know if it was Arena, but it might have been even one of those other smaller.
It might have been
bigger than Arena League, but I think he was trying to get one of the like the AAFL teams or whatever when it was out or something.
I don't know how that was going to happen.
I don't know, but I mean, if you have over a couple thousand members, if you all put in a little bit, and we all have a ownership group,
right,
and somebody has a representative,
right,
that might be something. So Paul Matty, think about that. What do you think? You're gonna
Mike and Paul,
buy a team together?
Since you guys are right here going up and down the comment section like crazy, I think we should link up, guys.
Our ownership group.
Let's get our ownership group going.
It can't be much, too. Even for our Arena League team, our buddy Paulie Walnuts, too, who's an Albany Empire super fan, just got part ownership in the Cobras, and they're like hot. Yeah, dude. Yeah, he owns part of the Cobras now, and they're a really good team. Like I would thought they would be in the shoe-in for the championship.
South Carolina,
but they fired their head coach though too, and look at the difference.
Oh man, it's just
I
don't get it.
Why
would you dismantle?
Exactly. Hashtag free John Turner. Not really. Oh man, yeah, good times. John Turner, man. It's been a long time, but. Hell yeah, man. So a lot of different stuff here and there, Arena League, Antonio Brown we've been talking about too. Let us know if there's anything else that you guys want to talk about out there. I mean, there's some things kicking around. I just recently read something, like we talked about, gambling and, worst trades and stuff like that. But then that got into like a marijuana talk. I just saw an article where Travis Kelce now says that he averages or he thinks or estimates about 80% of players smoke weed, smoke cannabis.
Not shocking.
And that's what's kind of funny is how far we've come from that Ricky Williams and things like that, and that's such a bad thing. And now to gambling is terrible, but weed, dude, it's okay. Everybody's fine. And now he openly will be open to admit, probably most of us do, or whatever.
Yeah, but the funny thing is about all this is that there already was 80% of the players smoking weed. Even during those years. Because some players, Calvin Johnson as one of them, who's more like a spokesperson right now about the benefits of smoking weed for players, rather than taking some of the harmful pharmaceutical drugs that they offer. He thinks that this is it is more natural, but it's better a lot of times in pain management than some of the drugs that are being handed out in the NFL to use. And he's urging other players to smoke weed instead of taking these pills that are given to them for pain management, and says like it's healthier. It's has no side effects, has no harmful, bad anything in it. And he's one of those, one of those people that are out there trying to help players and their pain management. So
I mean, I thought that was interesting too, because again, I think the same thing too. It's like when are there still children up at my house right now? It's like 10:30. They should all be in bed right now. But when I graduated high school and stuff like that too, because you go through school and you go through health class and you learn things, and
interesting.
If you're brought up right too, you think things are good, things are bad. But it wasn't until I graduated and got out into the real world stuff, you really notice how many people do that and stuff like that. And you're like, wow, dude, it's like literally everywhere. This guy I work with over here, I would never thought like, oh my God, he does this. Well, he's trying to work, and things, and it's like everywhere. So it doesn't surprise you that that players are on board in this. They just knew when to try and jump in front of the tests when they came up and stuff, and it's now openly available to a lot of people now with all the shops opening up all over states and stuff like that in New York and stuff, trying to get more too as well. CBD cream does help with pain. There you go. In my opinion, says Paul Matty. Mike Tackett says Canton, Ohio had an arena team called the Canton Legends. Their owner was selling the team bus and field. So the team, the bus, and the field for $500,000. That's a no for me, dog. So he's out. But what if we got 500 people, maybe, then it wouldn't be as bad, but
no, that wouldn't be bad at all.
I mean, it wouldn't be as bad of a blow. We're just saying, I know we said the 5 or 4 of us, but
we could be
the
Packers fan base of Arena League.
Yes.
We could be the majority owners of a team, but there's like 500 of us.
Or even minority parts of the team. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
We
'Cause we still get to be in that line.
all 500 of us have to vote on certain things.
Yes. You know, we still do that part. You know, I think if we even had that part, I think it would be fun.
It would
You know.
That would be fun.
But who knows? Joe, how about we make a good opportunity for you to tell everybody that's not Mike Tackett or Paul Matty if they're out there. You know, I don't see how many people are watching right now, but tell them about the show and how they can like and follow the show on YouTube and stuff.
It's very easy, guys, and it's just a click of the button. You know, do us a huge favor. Help us grow our football community here. We have a couple of guys that have been OGs forever, know-it-alls, and they are all in. We want you guys to be too. So head over to YouTube, look up our channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, as well as hit that notification bell, let you guys know when we go live. And you can also follow us on Facebook as well, and anywhere you get your podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, you name it, it's there. Drop a follow there as well. And if you want to be interactive, tune in every Wednesday night right here, 8:30. We're even thinking about bumping it up to 8 o'clock. Because we're so excited to do shows.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's still in the process. But anyway, every Wednesday night, we're here live. So when you drop a comment down below, like some of these other know-it-alls are doing, we're going to respond to it. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to feed off information off of each other. And that's what it's about. So make sure you head over to YouTube, Football on the No Show. Make sure you go get there right now. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell, let you guys know when we go live, and become a know-it-all.
Absolutely. All right, that's going to be it for our show
That's
tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Hold on, before we go off the air here.
What?
So there was a funny situation. Remember when the Devontae Adams situation about running to the tunnel? He shoved the cameraman over.
Yeah,
was going to go to court and all that. Well, apparently it didn't even make it to court because all the charges have been dropped on him. So.
Wonder what happened there, right?
Yeah, it's easy. It's called the NFL rule book. And they're like, yeah, you're not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Slam dunk.
There you go. So, all right, that's done.
A little bit of news there.
Excellent. All right, well, that's it for us. Again, you guys enjoy your 4th of July weekend / going into
Tuesday.
next week, your Tuesday. Have some fun. Be safe. All of our friends out there, thank you for the support, and we love you guys.
Take chances.
We will see you guys probably that Wednesday right after. We got a big show coming up.
We'll just celebrate 4th of July on Wednesday.
Yeah,
how about that?
Sounds good. We'll see the fireworks around here. We'll get some fireworks going, Joe. Between us two, let's get some strong opinions on there. We'll get the fireworks going. All right, see you guys next week.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more Football on the No with Jim and Joe.